I once again welcome you to this all important session. I believe you've been following my previous videos. I have been able to release video on session 2, session 3. So if you haven't done so, you can go back and check them. Session 2 talks about writing skills 1, which is how to prepare and also make notes. How to make notes and how to also prepare notes. So these things I discussed them in the session 2. That's the video I released on session 2. Session 3 also talks about writing skills 2, which is about summary writing, how to write summaries, the step you have to follow and everything. I took my time to explain it, gave you an example of how of what a test, and then we I was able to um actually summarize it for all of us. So if you follow the video that I uploaded, you'll be able to know how to write a summary. Today's um, discussion is going to be about writing skills 3, which is what writing a paraphrase. Writing a paraphrase. So it is very very important. If someone communicates his or her idea to you, it is very prudent as an academic writing student. It is always prudent to communicate it in your own way, even though you are communicating the same idea, but it should be in your own way, and that is what we are. That's what we say with paraphrasing. It's the same idea you are communicating, but you use your own words. Do you get it? In communicating it, and at the end of the day, we will get to know things you should do when paraphrasing a test and things you shouldn't do when paraphrasing a test. So let's get started. Um, so when you talk of summary, so making use of information from other sources is encouraged in academic writing, especially if you know how to do it right, or how to do it in a right way. So now, using information for other sources, okay, that is what we are doing now. But reading for meaning or relevant information from academic and other sophisticated texts can be what daunting process, especially if the material is new to the reader. The challenge of reading and effectively incorporating material from sources reading text of your own. Example, your draft research paper can be made easier through the process of quoting, summarizing, and what paraphrasing. So you should choose a quote verbatim. Okay, you may choose to quote verbatim from a source text, perhaps because the quoted passage or expression captures some important ideas, or you may simply summarize essential ideas of a text, considering a text into a briefer version that highlight the main idea of the original text, or you may choose to paraphrase the source text. So that is it. So the whole idea is that whenever you are reading, whenever you are searching for information, you can do it in so many ways, of which we have already highlighted it. It's either you choose to quote it verbatim, you choose to summarize it, or you choose to paraphrase it. So what we are doing, the the whole thing lies on what paraphrasing. We are going to what delve more into paraphrasing, and that is what we are coming to do now. So what then is paraphrasing? When you talk of paraphrasing, what does it mean? In basic terms, it refers to when we reword someone's word or ideas using about the same number of words, but the not the phrasing or the sentence structure of the original. So when we talk of paraphrasing, this the whole thing to break it into pieces is when you are you are rewording someone's what idea, okay, or you are writing someone's idea using your own idea. That is all about what paraphrasing. Okay, that is it. If someone says, if someone is communicating to you, the person may choose to use his or her own words. After getting it, you try to communicate it in your own, I mean, way, and that's one of the qualities of what a university student. If you listen to someone is talking, you watch a radio show, or maybe you do your research, you get some things, you can choose to paraphrase it, or you quote it verbatim. But quoting it verbatim sometimes makes the research somehow boring. If there are some things you can't, especially if it has to do with statistics, you can't you can, when you paraphrase it, sometimes you miss some important information out there, and you need to quote everything verbatim. But especially when you are narrating a story or something like that, it is always essential to paraphrase your information. Yeah, so to make it so nice, the person whosoever is reading your text to know that, yeah, the person knows what he's writing about. Yes, and it shows your control over the language. Somebody can, there are some articles, when you are reading them, people can just be quoting people's word. Sometimes I read some of the online articles. So these people, crowd, what do they do? It's full of quotes. They'll be quoting. They can't even write more than 3 lines without quoting someone's word. Full of quotations and stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't quote them more, but you must also learn to paraphrase information, to make it look unique and nice. At the end of the day, it will show that you have control over the language, and you know whatever that you are writing about. A paraphrase is similar to a summary, because it uses the word of the reader to make sense of the source text, but it also differs from it. But it also differs from it, because it usually pays attention to small details in the source text. So when you talk of the difference between summary and paraphrasing, is that summary, it should be brief but still maintain the main idea. You have to maintain the main idea, or what the person is communicating. You have to maintain the idea, but it must be brief. But paraphrasing, it will match the person with the exact word, that the exact, if it is maybe 10 pages he wrote, you should match the person at least the same 10 pages, or maybe 11 or even 9. You get the point. And it should communicate the same idea. That is it. So for paraphrasing and summary, they are somehow similar. They share certain things in common, and then they have some differences too. The only difference is that for paraphrase, when you are paraphrasing something, you have to write it in your own idea, but use match the person's word. If whatever that he was trying to say, you communicate it that way, but you don't write everything that he wrote. So what I'm trying to say, not writing everything he wrote, and just not using his words, okay, the words that he wrote, and you don't use the words he used, but you find a way to communicate it in different contexts. It's like it's like someone speaking in Spanish, and the other interpreting it in English. You see, whatever that you say, the person will say the same thing, but he won't use the words you use. He will use different words. This is the simple way you can understand it. That is paraphrasing. The person will use the same words you are using, but it will be in Spanish. That is it. So, and he has used his own words to communicate it in his word, in his language. So that is all about paraphrasing. Now let's continue on with it. Let's continue. So why do we paraphrase a text? Okay, or why do we normally paraphrase something? A paraphrase substitutes your own words for the author's words, and suggests that you have understood the source material. Sometimes when you are when you paraphrase something, it shows how you understand the thing. Okay, if you don't understand it, you can't communicate. You just go and then you change one or two words. And sometimes people normally think if you change 2 words or 1 or 2 words, you have paraphrased the thing. It's not like that. So to be able to paraphrase something means that you what, you've understood the thing. As example that I gave to you earlier, if you ask me to come and interpret something in Dagati, I may not be able to do it because I don't understand Dagati. So to be able to interpret something in Dagati, I must be able to what, learn how to speak Dagati, and that will help me to what, interpret it. But if I don't know how to speak it, and even if you ask me to even interpret something in Kobo or Ever, that one, when you are speaking in Ever, I can maybe say it in English or Tree. But if you tell me to maybe translate it from English to Ever or Kobo, I may not be able to do it. Or Bono, if you ask me if you are speaking in Bono, and I can interpret it in what, Tree, but I can't do otherwise. You get the point. So that is how it is. So paraphrasing, you should what? It shows your control or your understanding about the text. If you don't understand it, you'll be beating around the bush. So to be able to paraphrase, you have to do a lot of work in order to what, come up with the idea. And that one, when you understand it well, you won't miss anything out. So it also shows that, second point is that it also shows your grasp of what, information in the source text, and its evidence. Okay, sorry. So it shows your grasp of what, of the information in the source text, and its evidence of your creative control over the same. So that is how it is. So it shows your understanding. It shows your understanding of what, the information. If you don't understand, you can't write it. So to be able to paraphrase it, it shows that you understand it, and you be able to what, communicate it in a way. If you are a parliamentarian, you go to Parliament House and they are reading budget and you don't understand it, how do you interpret it to your constituents? So some of them go to Parliament House and they be sleeping, especially most of these MPs. Some of them don't even understand the proceedings and stuff, but they are still we selected them to go and sit in Parliament. So at the end of the day, they go to Parliament, they bring nothing home, or they don't understand it. But if you understand whatever that is going on in the house, you'll be able to come and explain things well to the people. Some of them don't understand. The moment they say, you will hear them say here, 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 here. That's all, here, here, because they don't take time to what? They don't understand it. So if you don't understand it and people saying here, here, you also say the same here, here. Yeah. So every day here, here. The third one is that paraphrasing helps you to explain complex processes or ideas to others who may otherwise not understand them. So it helps you to explain complex ideas, sophisticated ideas that are what, complicated. It helps you to explain it. If you understand it, it helps you to explain it for people to understand them too. So let's look at the benefits of paraphrasing. Generally, paraphrasing helps you to remember complex material or difficult ideas better. So it helps you to remember complex ideas or difficult concepts very better. This one I don't need to explain it much for you. If you understand it, you can explain it better. If you understand it, it's easy to remember it. You get it. And then it also helps you to explain those complex ideas to others as well. If you understand it, you go to Parliament and they are making debate and you understand it, it's easy to wake up and argue things that you think it will affect your constituents. You will accept it. If you don't understand, they say, oh, they are going to even give our minerals to the Chinese for 5 years, or let's take it like 20 years, because you don't understand the whole thing. You can't challenge it. But if you understand the impact it will have on the people, you will easily challenge it. If only you have heart for the people you are serving. If you have heart for the country, if you are not politically sycophant and you have heart for the country, you stand up and kick against that law they are about to implement. So that is it. So it helps you to explain those complex ideas to others as well. You can sit down, you see somebody teaching mathematics, and you be like, the person understands it. So you see the person, you start from nowhere, and you can write can take just like one equation. I can write the whole board and even clean it and write other things. Even continue. Sometimes when you are doing this, and now my dream I am a basa. You get it. Mathematics is not my favorite, so that is the whole thing. Because they understand it, they can just write it. And if you ask them, they can explain to you why they had, let's say like D2 or they had 75. They can explain to you how they because they understand it, so they can explain every concept, complex idea, whether you understand it or not. They understand it, so they can explain it. So things you understand, you can easily explain them. That is how it is. So always learn to understand things well. If communication is happening between your colleagues, before you open your mouth to say something, understand it before you talk. Some of us normally make mistake when they get to partners, and especially they are fighting, especially lovers. When they are fighting now, because you are closer to one now, you go and take side. At the end of the day, they solve their issue and you become a third party. And then they go and they be discussing about you. So always make sure you understand things well before you take stance. If you don't understand it and you go and say something at the end of the day, it will backfire. So that is it. And in academic writing, paraphrasing is often considered more important than quoting because it makes your work look more original. So quoting, everybody can quote. The only thing is just what when I quote, I'll just what it is easy. Even class one student can do. But to paraphrase something, it takes a lot of time. You need to what it means you have done a lot. So most lecturers normally appreciate people paraphrasing things. It shows their control and their understanding about the process. So it is more original than what quoting. And then paraphrase involves what paying attention to details and may even serve as a form of learning to the individual undertaking the exercise. So that is it. It what it help the person or the person that is what involved pays attention to it, and through that it helps him or her. Okay, that is it. So now let's look at the steps to follow when writing or when we write a paraphrase. These are the steps we should follow. So first, read the text and make sure you understand it. As I said, understanding is part of the game. If you go to examination or they give you exams paper, read it well. Don't scan it. Don't scan it. Don't just go and skim it. Be looking through just to see whatever you were expecting to see. It's not like it's not like I'm not even Nelson. Somebody will say go to page 93 because you want to see Sarkodie's name. So you go to page 93 and see whether Sarkodie impregnated there or not. This is not like that. In examination, everything they give to you, you have to read every instruction, everything they give to you, because understanding it is part. I went to examination in my final year. When we were writing some paper, I think sociology. So they asked us to write the answer. It was objective. It was feeling objective and then essay. So they asked us to answer everything on the answer booklet. So I mistakenly answered some of them on the question paper. I didn't know, but later on I realized that I need to do it on the paper. So in case maybe they do not accept the question paper, then I can send the answer booklet no matter what they will accept it. So I did that, and my plan really worked. They came and I gave the two to them. They said they won't take the question paper. I should keep the question paper. So people were crying for me, and I said, I had this plan long time. So you people shouldn't cry for me. I have my way out. So that is how it is. So you have to read the text and make sure you understand it better. Always read the instruction very well, and also take note of important ideas or complex concepts that need to be made clearer to the for the audience. So you have to pay attention to what the important ideas, okay, that need to be made clearer to the audience, and also find words or expressions that are explanatory of the concept and make them easier to understand. So you look for words that you can what incorporate to make it what easier to understand. And also do not use technical words, okay? You are not a political science student. Your audience are, let's say, like a BEC student or WASI student or even traders, and you go there and be using the idiosyncrasies, I mean, the political jargons, okay? Use all the big words, and then for people to clap for you. At the end of the day, you've done nothing. You've not be able to what? Understanding is part of it. So if you are communicating and they are not understanding, this is barrier. Information studies. Those of you who did information studies, you know what barrier of communication means. If you are communicating to someone, if you see a Chinese talking right now, or a Chinese talking to you in Chinese, what will you think? You think the person is making noise because you don't understand whatever the person is saying. So sometimes if you are writing in information studies, that's what we have what consideration. Step into the person's shoe. Will the person understand whatever that you are saying? You are communicating with your mom and you are trying to use big English for assuming your mom completed GHS. She's not up to your level that you can use these words to, or a girlfriend because you want to get fame or let the girl love you. Now you use work just to scare people. No, it's barrier. It's barrier. So you have to stop these things. Get to people level, communicate to them in a level that they will understand. Okay, if the person don't understand English, speak to him in Chi. Now sometimes we I don't know, but we force ourselves too much. If the fact speaking English doesn't mean you are better than somebody. Okay, speaking a good English doesn't mean you are better than somebody. If I speak better English than you, that doesn't mean I'm better than you. And even if I even complete university and you have not completed university, that doesn't mean I'm better than you. In the sight of God, we are all one. So learn to respect people regardless of their socio-economic background, whether they are poor or rich. Respect people. You don't know where you meet them. This is an advice I'm giving to all of you here. You don't know where you meet people, so learn to treat people well. No matter where you meet the person, no matter the person's level, the age, even if you are older than the person, respect. Learn to respect everybody. Some people just behave like they sometimes, they see themselves in some level that they think, oh, be some if you are not careful, life will teach you lesson to humble you. You will see some people you can't even get closer to them because of what? Arrogance. So always learn to what? Humble and get to people level. The person you are dealing with, your level is too big, just calm down to the person level and deal with the person. When you get, if I'm working with you and you are if you're not attended school, I'll just speak to you in Chi. At the end of the day, if I meet those that completed SHS and university that I know they can communicate in English, I speak to them in that way. If you understand life this way, you won't struggle yourself. Okay, that is just food for thought. Okay, take it. It will help you. And then let's look at the steps to follow when you write a paraphrase. The steps that you can follow when you write a paraphrase. Change the structure of or vocabulary of your sentences so that they do not unduly imitate the original in a source text. Use your own words and sentence structure. That is the mistake most of us make. Okay, sometimes when we are paraphrasing something, we try to just change some few words and we think we have paraphrased it. It's not like that. They give you a work to do now. The moment you have copied someone's work, you didn't do anything. You went to copy it somewhere. Then you come and change some few words and you think you have paraphrased it. No, you have to what? You have to change the structure or the vocabulary, how the person framed the words and everything. You have to change everything. It's like paraphrasing something is like building a house. If you don't lay a foundation and you start roofing it, at the end of the day it will fall down. So you must roof it, build a structure from the beginning to the end, and at the end of the day you have a successful work. But if you just go and pick something somewhere and you change one or two things and you think you have done it, today everything is in the system, or whether it is your work. If someone's work and you are trying to do that, it is easy for you to be caught. So if you are fond of copying people's work or copying things from the internet or social media, making it your own, you have to repent. Even if you are copying it, reference it, indicate that this person wrote it, and give credit to people for their work. You don't just go and add your name and think you have done it. No, it's not done that way. So also another step is that you should keep your sentence short and simple and are more easily to understand. So keep it simple and short. So that is it. In information studies we call it what? Keys. Keys. That's what. Keep it simple and what? Short. Keys. So that is it. And then in your paraphrase, indicate who is doing that, who is doing what, why, when, where, to what express the meaning of the original completely and what accurately. So you have to what indicate who does what, who does where and how, and you have to answer all the W questions. Okay, when, why, where, and so on. And also indicate the source of your text to avoid plagiarism. So indicate wherever that you copied it from, even if it is from ChatGPT. And if you indicate that problem is going to come, so you have to indicate wherever you copied it from, and to avoid plagiarism. Because the system, if you can't beat the system, no matter what, you can never beat the system. The system will rather beat you. Now, I have done some little notes here. Let us now look at them. Yeah, I have some little notes here. We are now coming to look at acceptable and unacceptable paraphrasing. Sometimes we do make a lot of mistakes, and I think it is good that we do. This time around, I like supporting everything I teach with illustrative examples. So when you go to the exams and I don't even meet you again, you know whatever you are doing. Paraphrasing, it will come. Summary will come. They can give you something they ask you to paraphrase. The two of them, one will come in your exam, whether you like it or not. Keep it. If you like it or not, one of them will come. Summary, paraphrasing, one of them, and then referencing will also come. So these things are very, very important. So you have to learn everything. So now let's look at the acceptable. There's an example here. It says that the sun rises in the east. The sun rises in the east. So how do we paraphrase this? How do we paraphrase it? If you do it, I've given you a wrong way we can paraphrase this one. The unacceptable paraphrase. It says that the sun rises in the east. So now let's look at the unacceptable paraphrase. It says that the east is where the sun rises. When you say something like this, it is what? A wrong way of paraphrasing it, because it's the original idea, but you try to what? Just change it. I tried to just change it to put someone at the beginning and then just some way. It is not. It is a wrong way of paraphrasing a text. It's a bad way of what? Paraphrasing a text. This is what we call the unacceptable paraphrase. Even though I have communicated it in a different way, but it is still what? An unacceptable paraphrase. A bad way of paraphrasing it. So now, why is it unacceptable? In the unacceptable paraphrase, the structure is too similar to the original, merely flipping the order of words without introducing any meaningful change, so that is it. It didn't really introduce any new idea. Okay, it just use the original idea by changing it. So that is it. A good paraphrase should capture the essence in different way. So you should capture the important things in a different way. So now let's do a proper paraphrasing here. I can say that the best way you can paraphrase it. You can say that in the eastern sky, the sun begins its ascent. In the eastern sky, the sun begins its ascent. It's a best way. I've communicated it in my own way. At the end of the day, it is the same meaning. It's the same meaning, but I've used my own words to what, write it without using the person's word. If you use the person's word, it is not a paraphrase, okay? And you cannot even say this one is also a summary. Your own is just what, copied everything for them. I remember when I was in SHS, I didn't do. I was in a certain school, but the school we didn't do French in GH primary, so I hesitated. I think I decided to stop because of I didn't really like the school, so it got to a point I decided to stop and join another school. So the school that I joined, they were doing French. That was Form 2. That's DHS2, Junior High School 2. So what happened is that they were doing French, and I have to do it. I don't know anything about French. So during the examination time, they gave me French exams to write. I didn't understand anything. They said we should write myself. So what I did was to just copy the I think they gave you a passage. They gave us a passage where we add our names, and then the my name is, then they would leave a space, and then it was like that. So at the end of the day, I copied everything, how they wrote it, everything, a full page, verbatim. I just copied everything, and then so that after marking the paper, the French teacher came to me and said, "Hey, you wrote a lot of things for me, Papa." But he considered me. I had 48, and that 48, I was able to. I know I was able to. I think I was the fourth. Yeah, when they brought the results, I think I was the fourth. I think I was ranked as the overall score. I think I thought I was the fourth person. Yeah. So I was, if not a French, and I did the other courses, I could have maybe topped the class, or maybe be the second runner. But I did my best to. But that's what I'm trying to tell you is that some of these things, when you write it, you write it word for word. It is not a paraphrase. Okay, so learn more about these things. Let's look at the second example. I'm giving you 5 examples, so we'll go through all of them. So if I don't meet you again, you can write them yourself. The example is, cats are known for their independent nature. Cats are known for their independent nature. So the unacceptable way is that this is let's look at the unacceptable way of paraphrasing this. If I say independence is a trait commonly associated with cats. Independence is a trait. Commonly associated with cats. It is unacceptable paraphrasing, or unacceptable paraphrase, because it merely restates the original idea without providing a distinct expression or alternative wording. He didn't really provide any alternative wording, so it used the old words by putting it in different contexts. That is it. So effective paraphrasing involves rephrasing. Okay, rephrasing the content in a manner that reflects a nuanced understanding of the topic. So that is it. So now let's look at the best way we can paraphrase it. The example is that cats are known for their independent nature. I can say that independent is a characteristic commonly associated with cat. It is a nice way of paraphrasing it. I've introduced a new idea. Characteristics wasn't part of the existing idea. Okay, characteristics commonly. So there are some words that are introduced into it to make it. But at the end of the day, you see that I maintain the whole idea. Whether you read the example or the paraphrase, it still communicates the same thing. I didn't lose the meaning. I maintained the meaning. Another example: water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at a sea level. So if you say at a sea level, water reaches its boiling point at 100 degrees Celsius, you maintain the same idea by putting it in different contexts. It is unacceptable. way of what paraphrasing it. So it replicates the original sentence with what minor alterations. Okay, a successful paraphrase should convey the same information using different language and structure, so demonstrating comprehension rather than what simple rewording. So you have to demonstrate the comprehension rather than simple rewording. So now let's look at the example, the best way we can say it. So I can say that at sea level, the temperature required for water to reach its boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. It is the same idea. You see the example, I said that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. And then the paraphrase says that at sea level, the temperature required for water to reach its boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. It is the same. The value is the same. The words are different, but the value is what? The same. So another example 4. That's the last batch 1 example. Global warming is a significant environmental challenge for far-reaching consequences. If we say the consequences of global warming is extensive, making it a major environmental challenge, it's unacceptable. Why? Why is it unacceptable? Because it maintains the original sentence structure and fails to offer a fresh perspective. A well done paraphrase should present the information in a different manner, showcasing a deeper understanding of the content. So let's look at the best way we can paraphrase this example. The example is global warming is a significant environmental challenge with far-reaching consequences. So I can say that the best way I can say this is that the challenges posed by global warming extended widely, impacting the environment on substantial scale. It is still the same idea but different way of communication. I've communicated it in different ways, using different words, using different sentence structure and different sentence structure and different words. So that is it. The last one, if I say the Industrial Revolution marked a period of profound economic and social transformation, if you paraphrase it by saying that a significant economic and social transformation occurred during the Industrial Revolution, it is what? It is wrong. It is unacceptable. So the acceptable, why is it unacceptable? Because it mimics the structure and then wording of the original. The original words we have already given. It mimics it. It's the same thing I wrote. So a good paraphrase should involve substantial rewording and then restructuring to convey the information in a new or unique way. Now let's look at the best way we can paraphrase this one. So I can say that a profound transformation in both economic and social aspects characterized the area of the Industrial Revolution. Let me pick it again. So a profound transformation in both economic and social aspects characterized the area of the Industrial Revolution. That's the best way we can paraphrase it. Now let's look at this topic. Now I think if I give you example, if I give you something to paraphrase, you can do for me. So if you don't understand anything, you can reach out to me. My number is 0545 41 2017. So you can reach out to me for more explanation. Now let's look at the last my email is also andrewjohnson7000@gmail.com. So when you email me I'll respond to you. Let's look at the last thing. So things you shouldn't do when you are paraphrasing a word. So these are things you should not do when you are paraphrasing a word. Okay, so this is it. Example. So first of all, the things you shouldn't do is when you copy the word, when you copy word for word, it is what? you should avoid it. Copy it word for word. You shouldn't do that. Okay. Directly replicating the wording of the original without proper attribution is not what paraphrasing, it's plagiarism. So note the two. If you copy it word for word, it is what plagiarism. And also you have to what changing you have to what change only. Also changing few words is also what a bad way of paraphrasing. You only change few words. So a good paraphrase involves substantial paraphrasing, not just replacing few words with what synonyms. It is a bad way of paraphrasing. And also another things you shouldn't do when paraphrasing a text is losing the original meaning. To ensure that the paraphrase accurately conveys the original idea, losing distorting the meaning is what counterproductive. So when you lose its meaning, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so you must maintain the idea. And also ignoring structure and style. So that one is also one of the bad way of what paraphrasing. When you are paraphrasing, you should maintain the structure and then the style. So effective paraphrasing considers not only word choice but also the structure and style of what original sentence or passage. And also another thing we should avoid when paraphrasing is personal opinions. I've already said this. If you are paraphrasing, you should whatever that your bias is, you should avoid it. Don't bring your personal opinions in when paraphrasing some things. Okay, communicate the writer's idea. If it is talking about men being cheat and you are a man, write whatever the person wrote in a different way. Don't go and don't bring your personal opinions and stuff. Try to counter it. That's not the best way of paraphrasing it. Okay, so you paraphrase the idea before. If you have something to say, comment after you are done paraphrasing. If you have a comment or you want to make you want to compare, maybe do some contrast, that's where maybe you can decide to now bring your views and other things in. But when you are paraphrasing, you shouldn't bring these things in. And also avoid and also overusing synonyms. Some people, because they go and copy everything from the internet. If it is imitate, then the person will write copy. Okay, if it is let's take like if it is simplify, and then they will just look for a word to replace simplify. If it is enhance, the person will just write a guarantee and just be changing words like that. At the end of the day, it is the same thing. You've not done anything. So avoid overusing synonyms and also changing grammar incorrectly. Sometimes that one also becomes a bad way of paraphrasing. Be cautious when altering the grammar of a sentence. Changes should not compromise the intended meaning. And also cutting and not citing sources. Sometimes you go and pick everything from internet. If you don't cite the sources, it becomes plagiarism. So if the original content is not common knowledge, it should be cited even in a paraphrase to give credit to the original author. So these are things you should avoid when paraphrasing a text. So you should do all these things, and then I think that is it. So so that is it. So you have to there are some few examples here that if you let me see if I can give you. Let's look at this one. So source text. So when the source text, the main thing it says that memory is the capacity for storing and retrieving information. So if you go ahead to say that memory is a facility, let's look at the best way we can paraphrase this. Memory is a facility for keeping and recovering data. Is the best way. That is it. And also another example. Research and publications are accumulating in each of the fields of anthropology. So you can say that studies and books are gathering in all areas of what? Anthropology. So that is just by the way. Thank you for watching. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe and share it with your friends. God bless you. I'll bring you my next video on citation, inter-citation, and referencing. These things are very important. When you get to even level 400, these things you will still do them. So pay attention to them, and it will come in the exams. Thank you.